Let's talk about Hi-Firush from Tango Gameworks, a team best known for horror games such as The Evil Within, who surprised us all last week with the announcement and immediate release of this game where you play as Chai, a kid who volunteers for an experiment which of course goes wrong, accidentally placing an iPod bootleg in his chest alongside this magnetic arm used to pick up trash. When he's branded a defect that must be eliminated, you fight back against the big bad evil conglomerate with a name George Costanza would be proud of, Vandelay Industries. Along the way, you meet a robot cat named 808, built by hacker and robotics expert Peppermint, and former Vandelay employee Macron, who help you on your adventure. Now, the story itself is simple enough, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes simple works. Now, the dialogue throughout is sharp, it's lighthearted, and the directors and writers all have pretty good comedic timing. It all leads to funny moments throughout, and the conversations you have with the robot NPCs are amazing, with my favorite being Smidge the Fridge, who helps you along the way. Now, great lyrics need great vocals, which are handled by a diverse cast who all do a great job, with Misty Lee's Rekka being my personal favorite. Now, Hi-Firush, just like history's greatest artist, samples some of the most impactful action games that preceded it. Visually, it's immediately striking with a style that feels like it was painted with jet set radio strokes with a splash of Persona and a sprinkle of Beautiful Joe, which is funny because it feels like a GameCube game. You know, structurally it exists in the 2000s, but it feels like a brief homage and interpolation meant to remind us what was, but building a new house over that very foundation. Its combat system has Devil May Cry's fingerprints, but it's all held together by rhythm. Every aspect of the world, from Chai's idle animations to spotlights and bursts of steam, animate to the music that scores each level, and it extends to the action. Enemy movement and attacks follow the rhythm, and landing hits on the beat nets you higher points and extra damage. But worry not, my tone-deaf brothers and sisters. All combat scenarios can be tackled using the tried and true method of just hitting buttons, and the magic of the system is that attacks always land on the beat, keeping you inside of that pocket even if your timing is a bit off. There are also visual cues to help, including 808's light pulse, and you can toggle on this indicator at the bottom if you require a bit of extra help, but its mileage may vary. I feel like the action is hectic enough that I can't imagine utilizing a metronome to stay on beat among all the other visual noise. Now, I didn't have this problem because I was born and raised with the blessing of this beautiful flag right here running through my veins, and my rhythm is pretty good. I just went off of the music. So the game can be played without the need to stay on beat, but I feel like it would be pointless to play without it. It's like telling someone Guitar Hero is fun, even if you miss 90% of the notes. That's just a lie. The entire game, top to bottom, is built on rhythm, and if rhythm games aren't something you enjoy, I don't think you'll feel the game's full impact. Now, Hi-Firush's very concept would crumble if it didn't have a soundtrack to back it up. And while licensed tracks from Nine Inch Nails work well, with a particular moment involving the Prodigy's Invaders Must Die being one of the greatest ones in the entire game, the original production is what will be stuck in your head once you put the controller down. The Evil Within's composer Masatoshi Yanagi and Shiuchi Kobori, who worked on the Metal Gear series, combined to deliver a rock and roll soundtrack that is easy to follow and drives forward the right energy, especially for the combat sequences. The bass-heavy backing tracks while exploring keep you engrossed, and the sound design of guitar riffs when performing actions on beat never gets old. Now, along the way, you collect gears, which can be used to purchase new combos, special moves, items such as health upgrades, and chips, which are these guitar pick-shaped enhancements that you can attach, which do things like increase the time before your combo drops or decreases your partner cooldowns, which add another layer to the combat. You can summon Peppermint or Macron for a quick Marvel vs. Capcom assist, or weave them in and out of your combos. The combat really opens up when you put all the pieces together of tethering to an enemy, hopping over them, comboing them into the air, using Peppermint's guns to keep them there, all while dodging and parrying on the beat throughout. It's all pretty deep with the inclusion of rest combos where you don't press a button for a beat, and the addition of heavy and light combinations, and it makes getting that S rank a very satisfying one. One thing I loved about the game is that each level feels almost like an album and each stage is a track, stages being these miniature arenas where you fight waves of enemies, and depending on your performance, you end up with an S through D rank. But I like that I clearly knew when I was going to face enemies, and I could freely enjoy the platforming and exploration sections without having to worry about entering combat. This is also where a lot of the comedy and writing shines, as the robot employees spew this self-referential humor and are very well aware of being overworked despite their perceived lack of emotion. Each level is like a different department, from research and development to security and all the baggage that carries within a mega corporation. It all works very well. The cutscenes are a highlight. They feel like an animated series. It all looks so amazing, especially when the game seamlessly cuts from cartoony gameplay to an actual cartoon, using various techniques like going from 2D to 3D and animated comic book panels complete with Ben-Day dots. The overall visual language that Tango Gameworks constructed to tell the story is one of the best I've ever seen in the game. And I got a few laughs out of me, although I'm aware some may see it as cheesy or veering into Disney Channel. Anything can be accomplished through the power of friendship type of territory, but you buy into it because every inch of this game is selling you on this world and everything in it. It oozes style and reminded me of No More Heroes, not just visually, but because the game carries its confident vision through and through. It's space imagined and defined by its own creativity, and it all works together because every sound and pixels implemented for that same purpose. It's a fully fleshed out idea, which makes it easy to lose yourself in that playground, or else you end up with a game like Forspoken with dialogue and delivery that almost feels ashamed of its own existence. I had a few gripes with the game, such as the environment. I wish they were as varied and personality filled as the department heads you battle on your way to the top. It gets better towards the end, but I wish there were more distinct along the way. While the combat flows with ease, the platforming feels antagonistic in comparison. It's heavy, it's clunky, and it sticks out because you do a lot of it in the game. Another thing I didn't like were the amount of quick time / rhythm events, which should have stayed in the GameCube era. Like, a few times to inject some variety is great, but when I need to do it to simply hit a switch, it overstays its welcome, especially in cutscenes when it's a well choreographed action sequence and it looks amazing, but I'll never fully know because I have to focus on hitting those Y and X buttons on time. One boss fight in particular used it really well. It felt like a back and forth dance battle, but it loses its uniqueness when so many mini bosses suck you into these events. There's also a lot going on at once in combat with the music and rhythm and enemy attacks and parrying, dodging, having to call partners that are needed to defeat particular enemies and having to cycle to the right partner for the right obstacles, and so many mechanics it can feel overwhelming at times. I wish there was a button assigned to a particular partner instead of having to cycle to them in real time. Now, I played it on very hard, which was a pretty good challenge. It took me about 12 to 15 hours to complete, but the end game for this title is stacked. A lot of things to collect, from outfits to completing challenges to complete this mural. There's an even more difficult setting that unlocks after finishing the story. Levels are replayable with newly unlocked paths, and of course the challenge of completing all of them with an S rank, among many other things to do. There's a lot to keep you coming back, and I honestly do not understand why this game is only $29.99. It feels like a $50 game at the lowest. I'm not really sure why Xbox priced it so low. Overall, I enjoyed every minute of Hi-Firush, and I can't wait to go back and encounter all that I've missed. The game is a very reflection of its musical concept. You know, every department, from the artists to the engineers to the writers at Tango Gameworks, are playing different instruments, but they're all reading from the same sheet of music, and it all comes together to form this symphony of joy. It's a challenging, lighthearted, funny action adventure that will keep you hooked. But if that's not your style or you hate rhythm games, this might be one to skip. For everyone else, you got to check this game out, especially if you're a Game Pass subscriber. It is a must play. Now, let me know down in the comments, does this look and sound appealing? Have you played it? What did you think about it? And also be sure to like and subscribe to be part of the first 500 club, as we're close to hitting that milestone. Thank you guys so much for watching.